Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in the frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and a loser?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
Damon.
Matthew Damon.
I love that, like, the fat Skarsgård is in this one, dude.
It's like, so we were watching it, and Mary, she actually watched it with me, and she...
Has she ever seen this?
She has, but it's been a really long time, and her memory is absolute trash, so...
I would love to know her opinion, because it's a therapy show. Like,
she liked
it's like a movie.
Yeah,
dude,
she thought that did the therapy well.
Right, and that's the thing, except for
she
the
was
one
like, it was,
joking.
Yeah, right. She said, like, a lot of it was, like, pretty obvious stuff, but, like, she's like, yeah, this is good. This isn't, like, she'll watch a lot of shit that's, like, therapy and roll her eyes at it, and she's like, no, this is good.
Right.
Yeah. It's a movie-fied version of it, but it, you know.
That's what Victoria was saying, too. She's like, but the whole, like, choking thing, which I feel works. It's like, I understand, like, that is
he's from
malpractice.
Boston,
but the fact is
he's from
not,
Southie.
He's not truly his therapist, so it's kind of like, I don't, that was like,
oh yeah,
that was a meet and greet, and it's like, I don't know, he took it on, he's doing it, like,
he says he doesn't even do therapy. He says he teaches it, he doesn't do it, so it's like,
oh, that's true, yeah.
It's like technically he's not, it's like he can.
That's what
he can come back from the grave and choke me. I wish I was telling Mary, I was like, I know. I was like, man, I wish I had a therapist. It's like, she's like, yeah, you need one.
Awesome.
Yeah. She's like, you need a therapist.
Yeah. Dude,
and I was like,
they don't choke you as much as that, but.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like a grizzly, like daddy.
You need to go
that is like a salt and pepper beard and wears like a fucking, like a cute old man hat and like cashmere sweaters. And just, talks about his wife's farts with me. Like that's my therapist. I need this therapist. And it doesn't exist. I'm going to be like, so on a scale to 1 to Robin Williams, like, what are you? And if they're, if that's not working, then get the fuck out of here.
I think the only way you can get a therapist like Robin Williams is if you're smart enough. If you're smart like Will, man, you can go toe to toe, tit for tat for that therapist.
Stellan Skarsgård can vouch for me.
He won't try to warp your mind, dude, with his freaking shrink magic, man.
I ain't falling for your shrink magic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
oh man,
this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast.
Yeah. This is the mathematics podcast. Now we're back at it.
This is just gonna become therapy. So if I start crying by the end of this,
oh, dude, the end of this movie hits you good, dude. This is like such a.
It's not so your fault.
This is such a good movie.
I'm surprised.
But it's funny. It's one of those. It's such a good movie, but I'd probably give it like maybe 3.5, 4 stars.
Yeah, I'd give it 4. Probably. I haven't done my letterbox yet. I'll probably give it 4. But like, so obviously we're talking about Good Will Hunting, right? So
yeah, sure.
I'd seen this movie quite a handful of times back in the day. I'd probably seen it like 3 or 4 times. And it's been like maybe close to a decade, 7, 8 years or something since I watched it last.
Oh, and easy, yeah.
I was watching it again this time, and I was like, oh, yeah, this movie's like pretty like cheesy because it's like all the stereotypical, like, we're just a rough couple boys and we're going to get in fights. And
he's wicked smart.
And Gus Van Sant's like cinematography style is very kind of plain and like it's fine. He's got like a kind of a gentle touch, but
it fits the
Miramax. It does.
Bill perfect.
It fits good.
That like it sits in that like mid to late 90s Miramax look. Like they were the A24 before like A20, they were producing all these movies that were kind of carbon copies, but like, really strong scripts and young and upcoming directors and actors. I mean, not Gus Van Sant obviously, but this movie got workshopped so much, and like that's kind of the like this movie has like quite the production legacy behind it. And I think that's really fascinating too. But
yeah, it makes sense because it's like, watching it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like pretty cringe, some of it, And like most recently, I watched like the Louis C.K. stand up, and he does a bit about it and about how like he really likes the movie, but a lot of the stuff in it's dumb and it's like only works because Matt Damon wrote it and he's playing the main guy and everything. It's pretty funny, but I was like, oh yeah, but then like the more it went on, I was like, oh yeah, there's a reason why this won like best screenplay and like put Matt Damon and Ben Affleck on the map. I'm like, oh, okay, this is really well written and like character development's really good and the dialogue is fucking great. God damn it.
Yeah, right. It's like the acting. It does. It comes together. It is filmmaking. Like and
the better, the longer it goes on, the like better it gets. And then the ending where it's just like, God damn it, he stole my line. And then it's just him driving off to like that nice sweet 90s music to over the credits. Like, that's perfect.
Well, right, yeah. Well, I'm really surprised. I didn't remember that Elliott Smith did. They used like 3 Elliott Smith songs in this movie, and like the ending credit ones. And like Elliott Smith just brings such a like melancholy
it's a vibe,
slight melancholy, but like kind of a little optimistic. It's like kind of pretty, but brings a great vibe. But then, do you know what I really did? Like when I heard the songs, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm like, fuck, that's great. I did not remember for the life of me that Danny Elfman did the score, and it is kind of goofy. I know the score was the one.
Right.
It was taking me out of it like
Same.
way too much.
I did not remember it at all.
I was like, am I watching Sleepy Hollow or am I watching fucking Good Will Hunting, dude?
I literally, it would be like the scenes, like Ben Affleck walks up to the house, and it just is like, is this fucking like Toy Story? Like, what is happening? It's just like this whimsical, like, oh yeah, look at this is in the mind of like a troubled smart guy, I don't know. It was
right. Yeah, totally that like I mean it worked for the kaleidoscope opening, that kind of kaleidoscopic opening where it's like that's kind of fanciful, but dude, his music is it's too whimsical, like you said, like it's
whimsical, man.
Wild.
It's like I guess it like fit because now I can't imagine what else, but
sure, right, yeah.
But it is there were times I'm like, what the fuck is this scene? Like, it's just like Ben Affleck's like doing that smile. And he's like, that son of a bitch, and then, but all the while it's just like, I
know it's like his strings and xylophone. Like you're like, all right, buddy.
It's like, calm down. I don't know.
Dude.
No, it's fun.
Can I stumble through a synopsis real quick for everybody?
I was just gonna keep going and say fuck it.
Oh, you just wanted to no synopsis? I mean, I think this is an old enough movie that it's pretty well established. Like people know the like pop culture references behind it.
Because I was the whole time I was like, there is so many like things that make fun of like that do this. That I was even telling like I was like, there's so many of the like, it's not your fault bits, and then like even Jay and Silent Bob 2, where they have this scene where the Good Will Hunting 2. Part where he's like, how you like these apples, and he shoots him with a shotgun.
Yeah, exactly. It like becomes super violent.
It is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Gus Van Sant there with his money bags. Like,
right, exactly. Well, dude, and this is a movie. Oh, okay, sorry. Let me do the synopsis real quick for everybody.
Lay it out.
You probably know some of the pop culture stuff, but I'm gonna give like super broad strokes. This kid from South Philly, he's super smart. Kind of he's a savant
with prodigy savant,
right, and it's typically with like math, and there's a colorful way that he expresses how he sees math and it just works for him. He can play math like a prodigy to a piano, So, anyways, math and like reading, and then his like photographic memory, those all play a large part in it, but. Since he's got South Philly roots and he's an orphan, he's taken family, this like chosen family with these 3 ruffian dudes from South Philly who are just like, they're good boys, and they're up for scrapping and fighting, but they go to bars and they hang out, and the inciting incident is Matt Damon's character, like Goodwill. He's really smart, and he writes
Goodwill.
He's a janitor for MIT, and there's an impossible equation written on the chalkboard that like, if anyone can pass this, all the doors are open for them in the mathematic world. And here's this little Goodwill, and he completes the the problem in seconds, and the teacher's really impressed, and he's like, oh my god, he's my prodigy, I've got to make him what I want. But because Will got into a scrap and he's gonna go to jail, he gives him the ultimatum: hey, if you go to therapy and then you learn under my teachings, and we like cultivate your mind and make it, pretty much it turns into like he just wants him to fulfill his lost prophecy, like he wants him to do the greatness that he sees in him, and so it's kind of this like bittersweet with him. But meanwhile, Will becomes really good friends with his therapist, and then they have a formative, life-changing event. And he's 20 years old, which none of these, this is like one of the most like gratuitous, just miss fucking age, casting
he is
I've ever
young.
seen in my life.
He's like 26 when they made it.
No, he's 30 in this movie, or he's 27 in this movie.
Oh yeah,
isn't he? Yeah,
I looked
I'm
up.
pretty sure, right?
He's 26 or 27 because I had to look up his
okay.
birthday versus when they made the movie because I was like,
oh right,
I was like, how old is he? I'm like, he's young.
well, he won,
but he's not.
He won the Oscar
20.
at 27. So
Yeah.
anyways,
fucker.
right. He's not 20,
but
and
still,
he's like the youngest. He's like one of the youngest like Oscar winners ever. But anyways, so he just becomes really good friends with his therapist. His therapist tells him like, hey, you're more than just like your smartness, and go out there and try life. Find somebody that can
shut off
enlighten
from
you
all his childhood
instead.
trauma and everything.
Right. And then, this like through the therapy sessions, you learn a little bit about his backstory and everything, and like his how he was an orphan. He went through like foster care system, and he was beaten and bruised, and it's just like it's tragedy, it's emotional, and then it's just like a super hopeful ending where he gives a note to Robin Williams that says, hey, I'm gonna go.
There's
go see
also
Batgirl.
there's also a girl in it that he falls in love with.
Oh dude, which how could I even like not bring up Minnie Driver, dude?
I know.
But he meets like a college girl, and they kind
They
of fall in love.
whirlwind romance and all that.
Yeah, and she's kind of cool. She's a trust fund baby, and she's like, but hers is kind of tragic too. And so she's like, I love you. I don't care if you're a construction worker or a smartest man alive. I just love that D. And then he's like, oh, you can't love me because I'm broken. And then
Yeah, you can't. Wait, you want to hear this? Is a surgery scar? Like, see again, like Sunny, and then she's like doing the. It's like I'm pretty sure what you did there was from the movie Good Will Hunting.
I know, I love that. But yeah, that's it. I mean, he just drives off into the sunset. It's optimistic.
It's nice.
It is
optimistic.
Ben Affleck. He's got that. I don't care what you say about Ben Affleck's acting. I love him so much. I love his acting.
There's
charm behind it. That's like,
there's something
he's trying
about
so
Ben Affleck.
hard.
Yeah.
Like it's like the fact that he's trying so hard, but it's like good. Like they're at least serviceable in the acting world. I don't know. I
want him to go back to being a great director. He had such hope, and then he hasn't, and then he's been whiffing it lately.
Well, no, it was him directing his brother was like fucking gold. Like it was so good.
So good.
And so that's what I want.
Casey Affleck's like the best part of this movie.
and Casey Affleck's like the best Affleck brother. he's
easy. Casey Affleck
so
is one of the better actors around, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But because go watch The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, you want to see the greatest actor.
You want to just talk about? God, that whole cast is so good.
How many episodes has it been that I don't think we talked about the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford last episode? So we have to talk about it this episode. It's on our contract.
It is. We have to bring it up every episode at least once. God.
We have to say, go listen to that podcast. It's our least listened to podcast episode. Go.
It's probably up there, yeah. Which is a shame. That movie is so fucking good.
God, that movie is so good. That's like this. We should just rename our podcast to "That Movie's So Good." Or so good. But we just say that movie's good.
I forgot how much because I always was like, oh, Casey Affleck is such a bit part, but he's a pretty big like side character. But
all the friends are like
all the characters
really
are
like,
well utilized. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's like everyone that's in it serves a purpose. Even the swarmy, like fucking slimy little teacher's assistant that's just like the super kiss ass.
He gets a great scene too. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
and I think that's where this movie really it shines in its scene work. Like that, I feel like it's because fucking dude. So Matt Damon, I didn't know all this. Matt Damon was in Harvard when he wrote this, and he was getting like a degree in Harvard for screenwriting. And so it's like, I think it was like stage and then adapted to screen. And so it's just like this guy, I mean, like, oh, okay. That kind of explains it. I was like, oh, okay. But it's crazy how he like wrote this.
It's like, I'm a bad boy, but secretly a genius.
Right. And it's funny because I feel like this movie was like the first thing that he put everything into. Like it really is. It's like it is his like life, how he would see it, and how he'd want it to be. And he's put so much depth and emotion into this. And after that, I feel like he's just kind of played characters ever since.
Well,
then.
it's crazy. Like Ben Affleck's great. Matt Damon is great as well. But it's crazy to see because it's like this movie came out when we were kids, and we didn't really have like a full understanding. But it's just like it's weird to think that this movie is what put both of them on the map so hard.
Well, it's cool that they did it together though. That's what I love,
it's like in our lives, it's like they've always just been super famous. But it's just crazy, like they continue. Like Matt Damon is still incredibly famous and still doing a good job. Yeah. Like, all right, I gotta figure out the last Matt Damon movie I watched, like the most recent Matt Damon movie. Honestly, sadly, and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck in The Last Duel, which we didn't get to watch in Medieval Month.
Well, I was gonna say the last movie that I saw with them is Manchester by the Sea. That was a long ass time ago.
Casey Affleck too, man. He got the Oscar.
I know Casey was so good. But yeah,
dude, you got to see Last Duel because like Matt Damon, he doesn't play like he's not a charming guy. He's like a fucking gross, just like. And Adam Driver's in it. That's a good movie.
What one? The Last Duel?
Yeah, but it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. But Matt Damon is such like a grizzled medieval creep. Like baron, like lord guy. It's just so different from what we're used to him playing, which is he's always kind of like the good looking. He's like hero everyman that's like there with a quip. So it is nice seeing him like young 90s in this though, because it's like going back all the way back to it's just like this tight shirted. Fucking Backstreet Boys haircut, motherfucker. Like,
right, yeah, he totally, he looks the part, like,
and Ben Affleck hasn't changed at all. He's just got slightly older and maybe taller. Like he's just thickened out. But
he's filled. Yeah, he's just filled out. That's it, dude. he looks the same. But I just can't get over that's his stupid grin, man. And there's such a. He seems like such a buddy, And I love like. Have you seen him like? When he's like smoking outside, taking pictures with people, it's just like he's a cool dude, but you can tell like he's got some some burdens.
See, Matt Damon's just in so much stuff I forget he's in it. He's literally a huge character in Oppenheimer. How did I forget that?
Oh yeah, duh.
Oh, yeah. I saw that movie twice this year.
Oh right. No, I literally like didn't even. I'm looking at his acting thing. Oh, Downsizing actually was probably, which I actually really liked. It's broken.
Him and True Grit, dude. Have you ever seen? This episode's a little off the rails, but
whatever.
Have you ever seen The Talented Mr. Ripley, dude? He crushes it in that.
No, so
dude, Philip Seymour Hoffman too, dude. Seymour Hoffman, forget about it.
Oh, he's in that. Oh, I should totally see that then. I just assumed it was like the sequel to this movie, to Good Will Hunting.
No, it's like a really good like thriller, and Jude Law's in it. It's like a very good '90s thriller.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Jude Law, sign me up, baby.
Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow too. Yeah.
This is okay. This ties back to us like extremely closely because this is when I started getting into film. It's like 2003 is when I like got my first like video camera and was like really like shooting stuff, and this is when. The whole reason I found out about Good Will Hunting, everybody out there in podcast land, come to the Reddit, r/coldest of knowledge, come here and tell us what brought you to Good Will Hunting, and if not, kind of an adjacent film, like what film brought you to a certain film, kind of in your formative years, because I saw Good Will Hunting because Kevin Smith produced it.
Yeah,
and so
I always forget about that.
I was ingesting a lot of Kevin Smith shit. Well, I did it because Kevin Smith was the one that got this movie in front of fucking the Weinsteins, which is sad. But anyways, but it's
they
he's
produced
the one that
a
got
lot of good movies.
I know, well,
which
that's
is
the whole
crazy.
thing.
I watched any movie in the '90s. It's like the Weinstein's touched, dude. They
yeah, no, kind of though, right? And so it's unfortunate because the Weinsteins were a powerhouse and they fucking abuse their power because they're terrible gremlin humans that should be, I don't know, tortured and whatever.
It's nice that Harvey Weinstein's definitely going to die in prison. You know what I mean? It's like,
totally. Yeah, I hope
there
he
is
just,
something
shrivels to death,
warm in my heart about that.
Right, and so it's like, and I've got a funny anecdote about that. Weinstein didn't want Minnie Driver in this movie in Good Will Hunting because he thought she wasn't attractive enough. And so I'm like,
which means
you're the most disgusting mole rat of a fucking human being. You didn't think Minnie Driver was attractive enough?
No, it's because she wouldn't touch his penis. Probably
exactly.
Like,
no, really though.
That's actually
that's the disgusting truth. That yes, she probably was less appeasing.
And was it Kevin? Because I do feel like Kevin Smith is just like, no, dude, Minnie Driver's a queen. Yeah. She has to be in this.
Yes,
Harvey,
they all
listen
fought,
to me.
They all fought. This was during when Gus Van Sant was on board, and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck were like, and Gus Van Sant were like, no, she's perfect. she's the character, and she kills it, dude. I love her character in this.
Great, yeah.
She's so real, dude. Every character in this is like really dimensional, and like it's pretty good.
The characters, it's very well written, and the characters all have, because like even Lambo, the professor, like everyone has a good 3-dimensional arc. Like nobody exists just to serve one purpose, but it's also like there's a lot of bits that call to later bits. Like it's well written. Everything points at each other. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many shit early on, like even Ben Affleck's face at the beginning, and he's like waiting outside, and then later when he's like, you know what the best part of my day is when I never fucking see you again.
I know. Well, dude, and that's the only part of the movie that I feel is a little forced and like a little, and I think that's just like, it actually showed me that like that's kind of the glaring like downside, and what we've transitioned from that stark like archetype of a screenplay where you have to have that, like, instead of like, because the low point of the movie is pretty much when he breaks up with Minnie Driver, and then they do the he's with the therapist and stuff, and they have their blow up, and it's the like it's not your fault. That's the down and then kind of like the building action is when he's talking with him. And they're like, he's like, you better get out of here. I'll fucking kill you if you're here for another.
That's the final. Years. He's like, you don't owe it to yourself. You owe it to me.
Right.
And all these guys, because they'd fucking kill to have that opportunity and stuff. Which is like finally what he needed to hear from his best friend. And it's just like,
yeah, and it's all important. It's all there, but it's kind of like exactly. But it's like that's like the most glaring written part of the whole script. Like the rest of it feels a lot more like organic, but it doesn't take away from anything. It
no. Yeah, that's what I say. I think it takes me a minute to. I really like this movie, but like it does take me a minute to get into it because at the beginning it's like the super stereotypical like Boston beat 'em up boys, and then like how you like them apples. Like I think that scene's pretty stupid. And then all the
quotable scenes are
the slow motion fight.
Well, dude. Okay, don't get me wrong though. That looks great.
It's kind of fun. I know it. It's kind of fun.
That, like,
but
everyone out there in podcast land, if this is the first time you've watched this movie, you probably were like convinced that was they shot that in slow mo, but it was all
just Casey Affleck going,
it was filmed in real time, and everybody on the court moved really slow, so it was all choreographed where it looked like it was shot in slow mo because shooting in slow motion, you actually burn a lot of film, and that takes up like that. Film costs money every fucking square inch. Hopefully, around this time, Levi can.
Oh, there he is.
Hopefully, Levi can come back to us and
you were the one
and join the party. You froze, buddy.
You
I'm tapped in.
Froze.
I'm tapped in, baby. I'm on Ethernet.
I'm always on Ethernet.
I'm sucking up the good bits right now, dude. I've got those good ones and zeros coming into my computer.
Anyway,
well. I don't know where that was, around 25 minutes. So if you want to take that out, probably won't. So
I probably
that was a hiccup, folks. But I was just, I don't know if you heard me, but I was talking about the stop motion. I mean the slow motion part, and they used it in the batting cage before, thus giving it an authenticity when you get to see it on the basketball court. And so that was kind of like, I'm like, oh, that's smart. That's smart filmmaking. That's like, you
That
know,
tracks.
this is a planned film, but
Going back to how I came about this movie, because it was like kind of similar vein, but it was like I knew it was popular, and then I heard Kevin Smith's, and I watched it during that golden age, right? But it's because, and then I watched this, and I was like, oh yeah, Gus Van Sant. And I was watching like a lot of Gus Van Sant movies too, and it's just funny because it's like the way, like, he's got movies that have quite a bit of violence in them, but it's just like the way he does it. He has such a weird, like, soft, kind of almost awkward touch to making the violence that it's this just like, literally this time watching it, I was even like the fight scene. I was just like, yeah, this is exactly how Gus Van Sant would do a fight scene. Like
yeah, right.
Because it's like even like Elephant, which is probably like, I mean, this is probably his best movie, but
Elephant's
really good.
That's what I was gonna say. Elephant was like my most, when I went through it, because I'm like, I know Gus Van Sant, but I don't really know like his work off the top of my head. And then Elephant was the one where I was like, oh fuck, dude, that is such a good movie.
That was good.
And it totally is that. He's got a softness to him. That's like the best way to put it.
Yeah. Because even like Milk, right? He did Milk, and Milk was really good.
Yeah.
And we never did a podcast on Milk, but we watched Milk for part of the film club back before we were doing podcasts for it. If you remember way back in the day, it was like one of the first ones. We watched Milk when I was living at the duplex, and yeah, movie's good. But even the violence in that, with like, Josh Brolin going all Twinkie crazy, it's got like this weird, sympathetic kind of like soft touch to it. I don't know, like that's the thing about Gus, and I think that's why this movie fits the cozy category so well, is because, I mean, like, this is not cozy in the same way of like Portrait of a Lady on Fire or anything. This is definitely like, has a lot more going on, and like more, but it's like more melancholic, like you said. It's like, especially with the music and like the time period, like there's a lot of like just like scenes just chilling, not everything is like it's all about the characters, not about the plot. So there's so many scenes that are just driving the characters forward, even if they're just chilling at a bar. And then like Minnie Driver comes in and she makes that dirty cum joke to all his friends.
Yeah,
and
but even then,
like,
that's like when they're like, that's not that gross. It's like, it is more like cute. That
yeah, well, and it's just like, oh, she can hang, you know what I mean? And it's just like,
yeah, of course, yeah.
And that's why it's like, that's what feels cozy about this. Is like everything is just like it's just, even though they're going through all their hardships, it's like, it just seems, maybe now in 2023, I'm like, man, life looks easy in 97. Like, I wish I was 20 years old in 97.
I know, dude.
Like,
yeah, they're really,
but I guess it wasn't that easy because, whatever. But let's talk about Robin Williams, because
he's definitely a powerhouse. He like, God, I loved when he started getting, quote unquote serious.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I really enjoy it. And I don't, oh my God, I need to look up. I don't know if this is like his first, it's definitely not like his first serious film, but I think this kind of is like his.
Well, it's like his big breakout. That kind of, because it's like, I mean, because I'm pretty sure he won the Oscar for this, the Best Supporting Actor Oscar.
He did.
And I haven't watched this movie since he killed himself.
Yeah.
And watching it now, it's like he brings unfortunately, such an authentic performance to, this like kind of troubled character. Like, even in the scenes, like, you could feel his grief and his sadness. Then the movie is about like his wife and his loneliness and everything. But it's just like, sadly, that's what makes him such a good comedian and a really good like serious actor too. Is like, you can tell he's kind of got that, because it's like, I remember right after he died, I rewatched randomly just because I had it too, and I was like, oh, I was gonna watch it anyway, but then I watched a like 1 hour photo, and I was like, yeah, he does some really good. It's a bummer because it's like, he does some really good serious roles. Like, he's really funny and does like really classic roles too. All your Mrs. Doubtfire and your fucking, Genie from the Aladdin voiceovers and everything.
Which I totally like. I don't know, man. So Jumanji was like, I really appreciate that. He has a good like he does a balance between that movie. That movie's not as
Jumanji rules, man. I watched
it's
it
not as like
recently.
it's not as like comical as you would as like a Mrs. Doubtfire, which is like a straight up comedy, where Jumanji is like I don't know, it's an action comedy.
I
guess.
watched Jumanji last month. I don't know if I put it on my letterbox, but I watched it with Emmeline last month, and I'm like, this movie is intense and scarier than I remember. Oh yeah, no, I was talking to you about it because I had that scene with all the giant spiders.
Yeah, the spiders.
The
And
traumatizing.
when he gets sucked into the board, it's like freaky. I don't know.
Yeah, oh yeah, it traumatizes me. It's so prolonged, but
Yeah.
it's.
I mean, the Robin Williams performance that I remember like later on finding in like my early 20s, like it was like 21, 22, is did you ever see The Birdcage?
Dude, yes,
that is
Birdcage
that's such a fun like that's where it's like
I don't think I watched all of it though because I don't remember like the whole back half of that movie.
Well, right.
I tried watching it.
I don't either really actually, but
I put it on. We'll find a way to watch it because I put it on one of the polls like a few months back. I don't remember for what genre, and it came close. And I'm pretty sure I voted for it because I was like, I need to actually like sit down and watch the whole thing. And yeah,
he's a solid character actor. I mean, it's like as much as you can we rip apart Jack constantly because it's Jack. It's like it's such a parody of itself already. But
oh yeah,
who
directed? Someone directed Jack.
Francis Ford
Oh yeah,
Coppola.
we talked about
Jack
that.
is one of those movies where it's like we gotta go. We need to do like the Anomaly movies one month where it's just like a director that would not make it that kind of movie. We need to like put those together because God, there was somebody else the other day too that I was thinking about where I was like that just seems impossible. But yeah, Jack is kind of one of the biggest ones.
You know the highest. So on I'm on Letterboxd, and so you know the highest. You know how they sort the movies by like the highest rated, pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you know what the highest rated Robin Williams movie is?
Insomnia.
No. Oh, dude, have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I love Insomnia.
Insomnia. So that's Christopher
Pretty sure we've
Nolan's
watched together.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I think. Yeah. Anyways, maybe not. But
That's like a straightforward when Christopher Nolan wanted to be like David Fincher type of movie, and it like I just kind of appreciate it for that. But no, it's Dead Poets Society, which was on the poll earlier in the month, and I've never seen.
Which is funny, yeah, because he plays another like kind of unconventional teacher that inspires children, yeah. And that's funny. That's really his highest. I guess that makes sense. Oh my God, Hook, dude, we're going down like the nostalgia, fucking road right now, and I'm
Dude, Flubber, forget about it.
I know.
Did you? So you know what movie actually came to mind, and I didn't even see it on Letterboxd because it's probably pretty low down. That I've talked about it before, and I recommend it. Is World's Greatest Dad. It's like sort of more recent. It came out like a year or two before he died, and it's such a good dark comedy. Like it's fucking dark, but it's hilarious. But he's really good in it. Highly recommend that.
World's Greatest Dad.
World's Greatest Dad. It looks like the poster looks fucking dumb.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's like his son dies from autoerotic asphyxiation, and he's like he's like a failed writer, and so he writes a fake suicide note for his son because it's like embarrassing because he's in high school. He writes a fake suicide note for his son, and it gets really, really popular. So he starts like ghostwriting these hidden journals of his sons, and they get like really popular. They get really popular, and they get like published and shit. But he's like secretly writing him that it's like his son was really troubled and it was a suicide, when really he died of erotic asphyxiation, and it's fucking hilarious. But it's also incredibly dark. It's a good movie though. It's really well written.
I know, man. I want to.
Any movie with more. We should do an autoerotic asphyxiation month. Just movies that and we'll watch like Ken Park and stuff.
I mean, there's another movie too where I was just watching that recently, or it might have been a TV show. But Death to Smoochie was fun. That's
dude! See, now we're not even talking about good ones.
We need to have
Death to Smoochie, because I watched that when I was on my fucking Edward Norton train back in the day, and then I was just like, oh yeah, that movie rules too. We need to do a really good dark comedy month or something like that.
Yeah, solid dark comedy or Robin Williams month. Figure out, maybe or maybe we need an actors month. So each week we do an actor, but
because we did that with directors. We should do that.
I can bring it back. I got something pretty fun. I got a little a little bit of trivia for you that's pretty neat.
Off the cusp, baby.
You know the scene when he's talking with Minnie Driver and he tells her the brothers. He's got some brothers.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have 12 brothers. And he's like, Marky, Ricky, Danny, Terry, Mikey, Davey, Timmy, Tommy, Joey, Robbie, Johnny, and Brian.
Yeah.
And she's like, say it again, and that's like, it's fucking, their banter is beautiful, and their banter is so Kevin Smith, dude. It like if Kevin Smith was supposed to direct this, and it actually workshopped through a bunch of different people. Mel Gibson was their top.
What?
He was the first. Mel Gibson was the first director they went to for this movie.
How?
Holy shit! I'm so glad it wasn't Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson's a solid director, but this movie is nothing for him. Because he
so
probably just won the Oscar for fucking Braveheart.
Braveheart, yeah. Braveheart
and they're
just
like,
came out.
you know what the perfect movie for this guy would be is this like movie about like this troubled, dialogue heavy genius about like emotional trauma. That's the guy who directed the fucking freedom.
Yeah, anyway. like the cocaine fueled like fucking biopic or whatever history. But anyways, that was funny.
I don't want to go think about that dark alternate history where fucking Mel Gibson directed.
Maybe it would change him, dude. Maybe Mel Gibson would have like leveled out and
would have learned something.
To blame all the Jews. Like
yeah, bro.
I don't know, man.
Robin Williams would have just touched him, and he's just like he is just Gus Van Sant, and they get married.
Like, yeah, dude. Yeah, he finally chills out. But anyways, the reason that they went with those names, it's because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, their aspirational directors to work with was Mark Rocco, Richard Attenborough, Danny Boyle, Terry Gilliam, Michael Solomon, David Fincher, Tim Burton, Tom Hanks, Joel Schumacher, Robert Redford, John Woo, and Brian De Palma.
Jesus.
And that was like, that's the names they picked. And I was just like, that is such a beautiful, fun little tribute to film.
Yeah.
And it just tickled me pink, man. That's like knowing the like behind the scenes of this movie really helps. Like
having that be all the names, that's funny. Except for I don't want to think of the world where Joel Schumacher directed this. It's cool that they thought about Danny Boyle because Danny Boyle wasn't really that popular yet. Like he'd only I don't think Trainspotting had come out yet. Maybe just barely actually.
Was Trainspotting 98? I don't know, but I
think it might have been 96, so it might have just came out.
Oh, right.
Because
this movie was finished in like 93 or 94 or something like that. Because not finished the
script.
They workshopped this and shopped it around for 5 years.
That makes sense.
So they had it done for
it does
years.
Feel like it's really well written, but it does feel very like they cut off all the fat and they just fucking made it the tightest script.
There were like Ben Affleck's character was gonna die in like the original script, and there was like and then
brick falls on him during a construction season.
No, honestly, he died in a construction accident. That was that was it. But it's like and then another fun fact about this.
That's
is,
the Mel Gibson version.
Really though, well, yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing.
Dies doing a hate crime.
Yeah, like a lot of people took this, but but a lot of people took this and like wanted to workshop it and stuff. And so like Miramax was the first company that like was like, hey, this is your guys' work. Let's and they're like, if you want to workshop it, we've got suggestions, but don't it's not like we're here to overhaul it. And but the reason that they went with Miramax and respected them is because I'm sure you've heard this, like they on page 60 they put a gratuitous sex scene between Robin Williams' character and Skarsgård's character. Those two,
really?
Those two, the mathematician and the psychologist. Yeah. They put like a sex scene between them on page 60, and like a bunch of studios went around and were like, "Oh, this is great, we love it."
I did.
And they're like,
this,
"You didn't watch it.
Didn't actually fucking read it."
Yeah, and Miramax was like, "What the fuck?" They're like, "You should really cut that."
This is a really good script, but that threw us, Like
exactly, yeah, like that totally, because they were like, "Well, these two characters aren't struggling with like their identity. They're not like but they're two straight men. Why? What's going on? Like this wasn't part of the script." And so they're like, "Well, cool. Finally, someone like
that's a cool bit of tidbit." Yeah. Well, how did it get to Kevin Smith and then eventually Gus Van Sant? Do you know?
I mean through the Miramax pipeline.
Yeah.
So that was
that makes sense because
Kevin
obviously
Smith was on retainer.
Kevin Smith
Miramax.
and Quentin Tarantino were like the Miramax babies, you know.
And like so Kevin Smith was like like I said, like they worked with Miramax, and so Miramax owned them for like whatever, like 3 movies or 4 movies or something. So they had to write and direct, or I can't remember Kevin Smith got it. See, it's been so long since I've gone through the history, but he got to do Mallrats, but then that was like a whole fucking cluster cuss.
I'm really, really like you know how I feel about Kevin Smith. I'm a fan, or at least I was, and but I'm really, really glad he didn't direct this because he's a horrible director. He's an amazing writer, but it's like he doesn't. I agree. He doesn't direct. He doesn't direct what he doesn't write, and so it's just like that's what works is his screenplays. So if he would have directed this, it would have just been like even more boring visually, and that's it. It would have been like funnier without having that like melancholic, cozy charm, which I think is what Gus Van Sant really brings. Like he's a really simple director, but he really does bring like a delicate touch to his movies. Like we said. If you've seen Elephant, it's about a fucking school shooting only a couple years after Columbine, and it wouldn't be cute now because we have like 10 of those a day. But back in like 2003 or whenever it came out, I mean we still had a bunch, but it's like the movie is such like a slow, soft, like it's weird to say it because it has such an impending doom, but like that could even be a cozy movie. You know what I mean?
I mean, really, because it's
patient.
It works
it's slow.
It works off of like the fucking unknown impending violence that's gonna that could be coming. It's great because it's not like a super panic movie. It's not an exploitative film. That's what I loved about Elephant is like it feels like it really like. I mean, nowadays
it's like
we have
tragic. It's like tragic in the way like
tragic.
Everything about this is tragic. Like the fucking the guys who committed it, the people who innocently died in it that didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Right. And then 20 years later, it's still just as impactful. So,
but it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like if it was Kevin Smith, I love him, bless his heart. It would just really be like about the jokes and the dialogue.
Yeah.
But then again, this is around the time he made Chasing Amy, which is like his most emotionally impactful movie, probably, I think. And that's speaking of Ben Affleck, right?
Right. And that's the thing.
God, I haven't watched Chasing Amy in a long time. I want to watch that.
Oh, it's really good, dude. We watched it like a year ago. And I fucking love it. Dude.
We used to be obsessed about it back in the day.
I know. I haven't seen it. But I'm like, I haven't seen Clerks 3 yet. And I
still really want to.
Or Jane Silent Bob like Redux or whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched anything honestly since Tusk, which is weird because I actually love Tusk. So
well, that's the whole thing. I'm like Red State and Tusk, dude. We're fucking there for it. And then Kevin Smith just flip flopped. He couldn't continue the momentum of doing something different.
I know, which is too bad.
We could talk about Kevin Smith for another hour. We don't need to get into that.
I know. We did an episode on Tusk like a couple years ago, I think. So go listen to that.
Yeah. Go search the archives.
It might have been part of one of the early Horror-tobers or something, though.
Oh my God! This movie did fantastic in the box office.
Yeah, let's hear it.
You want to look if we have a Reddit. This movie was $10 million to make, which is like a solid investment, man. That's not $10 million for Miramax in 96, 97.
And like a fairly it's nothing, and it's but it's like a good. Like good for them because that's like a solid budget for fairly low on an unknown unproven quantity, and that's what sucks because that is one of the best things about Miramax is they took those risks that a lot of we got like the spec script boom of the 80s and 90s. It's like they took a lot of those risks, and because of that, we ended up with like so many great movies and filmmakers that kind of came from that.
Miramax, dude. Miramax is. It literally I'm not being like hyperbolic when I say that it is the A24 of the 90s. They are like a Sundance pipeline where they take that Sundance creator and they go, "Oh, you made a $501 million movie. Here's $10 million. Give us what you got." Like that. Like they did that and they
So
they brought a lot of people.
10 million. That's that's like a not a bad investment for them at all. How much did
10 million,
how much did they turn
and they
around
made
on that?
$225 million.
Woof, in the 90s for a fucking
people were
dialogue.
going to the movies, baby. People were seeing movies.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like not only is that a huge difference, but it's just like the type of movie this is. This is a movie, a character-driven dramedy about
20-year-olds aren't seeing this movie. I think that's kind of the thing about it. I feel like, I mean, maybe, but like, I feel like I don't know. I guess, around 20, I was seeing it. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like,
if this came out today, this would make 20 million, maybe.
Right.
Like, people wouldn't people would be like, oh, it was really good, but but it's like a movie that's about that's almost entirely just dialogue and character development.
Well, dude,
and it's like,
okay, how about this? There's that movie called The Leftovers or whatever. What's it called?
I'm putting that on, or the Holdovers.
The Holdovers.
I'm putting that on next week's poll.
That's essentially what we have today in 2023, whatever year this is.
Yeah.
In 2023, you're getting The Holdovers, a movie that feels very thematically similar, and it's going to make $20 million, if that.
Everyone's critically gushing about it, but it doesn't make fucking money.
But it's not going to make any money.
It doesn't make $220 fucking million. That's for fucking sure.
And I want to preface, this is the box office number that we have. It's always kind of skewed because this was the fucking the greatest time in American history to make a movie was in the 90s, because you had every single fucking human being owned a VCR. And everyone was renting and buying movies on VHS. And people still
going to
theaters.
Because there was expendable income in America.
Right.
And people were still fucking going to movies as an event.
Yeah.
Like
for the
Seinfeld,
demographics that are still
how many times are they just like, hey, let's go see a movie in Seinfeld? You know what I mean? It's just always happening.
Well, how about you? It's like I lived in a dollar theater era. That kids don't get that today. Oh. I lived in an era where you could literally go see a movie for $1 and then $0.25 on Mondays. And so we would just go to the fucking theaters and hang out.
The closest building to my house growing up was, weirdly enough, a movie theater and a library in one building. And I spent...
5-star was that not 5-star?
Yeah, 5-star. It was connected.
5-star is a library? It was connected to the library.
It was connected to the library. It was in the same building as it. There was
hell yeah.
There was a vacant space that was owned by the movie theater in between, but it was all one building. It was like a little strip mall almost. And but it was weird because you would be in the library and you could hear the movies through the wall.
Yeah, right. I love that. Yeah.
When I'd be back there,
that's nostalgia.
Finger banging my future wife in the back of the library.
Finger banging your brain with knowledge, dude.
Yeah,
in the library.
Right. I spent so much time in the library and that movie theater, so much fucking time there. Formative years, man.
That's same. The Movies 10 Cinemark Dollar Theater.
Yeah, bud.
Right in Sugar House, baby. You meet me there, man. I will be there. I'll be there. We were there all the time, throwing glow sticks and smoke bombs. Oh
yeah.
We were ruffians, kicked out sometimes. Oh my gosh. I miss it, dude.
I do too. I know.
I'm so sorry for the employees that work there that had to deal with us. But you know what? It's all water under the bridge now, right? Because you're a fucking regular movie theater now that sucks.
They are such a I haven't been to that theater in a long time, but yeah, it's just a very boring Cinemark now.
It is. Oh right, and it's it's cheap
because
the theater, the screens
parking lot. It's the world's worst parking lot too, because Sugar House is so busy now that it's just and I mean I haven't been there since I lived in Sugar House.
If you know Salt Lake City, Utah, and Sugar House specifically,
the only reason to go there is to go to Black Cat, which I don't even know if it's still
Black
there.
Cat Comics. Yeah. No, Black Cat. Well, actually, shit, I don't know. I haven't been for a minute. But
it probably still is. I would have heard if it went out of business. I feel like.
I know, yeah. And then the smelliest GameStop in the world is in that parking lot.
Yeah, dude.
And it used to be the smelliest Radio Shack, and now
holy shit, it was. That's right. Anyway, this is a movie podcast.
Everyone loves to hear us talk about our childhoods.
Yeah. Anyway, so Clones Are People Too. Old Reliable says, I love this film and I've seen this a lot, but this was my first watch in maybe 3 years. This absorbs me whenever I watch it. The characters are so rich and the film is so well paced. The acting from everyone is so good and the editing really helps the film flow. I'm a big fan of Elliott Smith's soundtrack, and the final scene with Will driving off is cinematic perfection. I read that Terrence Malick suggested that ending. That makes sense. Apparently, Kevin Smith was offered to direct this film. That would have been a very interesting version. Anyway, one of my favorite films. 10 out of 10. Oh, cool. Good to know.
Dude.
Take it up
10
vote.
out of 10?
I haven't read that yet. Take it up vote.
Beautiful.
I got to go on and put my sense on the Reddit.
This is totally a movie that is like in the 90s, if you were in like Hollywood and that, especially the Miramax realm, you had your fingers in this film. Like I feel like there were so many people that like, which I don't know, it kind of like, I'm glad it worked. You know, usually if there's too many cooks in the kitchen, it kind of falls apart.
I know. I was glad it works because it's like even seeing old Scott Mosier's name on there. It's always nice to see too.
Oh,
know?
I know, right? Oh, dude, and that's what. Oh my God, see, that's what's so wild. I didn't even see Scott Mosier's name, and it's like, of course, if you, dude, you could tell me like, any actor and any director, if you said that like they had something to do with this movie, I would believe you.
Like, yeah, really though.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really good. We didn't even mention the pacing, which yes, as Clones for People 2 says, is excellent. The pacing of this movie is because it's like, it's what I'm saying about the cozy stuff. It's like not as like, it's definitely nowhere near as like slow as the last couple of movies we've watched, but it is still patient. Like it really takes its time to let a scene breathe and let dialogue happen. And like even the stuff that's like quote unquote more exciting is not like fast cuts, crazy. Like it's a slow motion fight set to like just like 90s fucking pop music or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it very much has a vibe, and so
Well,
works.
that seems timeless.
And like the ending is perfect. Like I love the ending. And it is very like if Terrence Malick made a, you know, contemporary 90s urban film, possibly. I want to see the Terrence Malick idea. And it's funny if that was his idea. Of course it was. Like you said, it's everyone was involved. And Terrence Malick's like, yeah, and then he just drives off in the sunset.
Did Terrence Malick do, what is it, like Thin Red Line or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, it's totally Terrence Malick.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. Yeah, like Terrence Malick, though, God, he's really good too.
I want to go on a Terrence Malick spiel because I put him quite a few of his movies on the polls, but they never win because it's like I've seen a handful of his movies. Like Badlands is really good, but it's like I really want to see like Days
if we
of
don't
Heaven.
watch Days of Heaven,
Yeah.
we don't. Dude, Days of Heaven has been on my list
for
a
so
1,000
long.
years.
Same.
Dude.
I put Days of Heaven. Nobody wins these polls, so it's like I'm gonna cheat on the polls because I want to watch Holdovers really bad, and it fits the genre and it's Christmassy. I'm putting Holdovers on next week's poll, and I'm just gonna put terrible movies against it because I'm like I want.
I mean,
to
that's
watch
smart. Do it. Yeah.
No, I'll try and be fair, but I do want
I
like
know
an
that.
Alexander Payne movie. But anyway, I have nothing else to say about Good Will Hunting. It's excellent. If you haven't seen it, you have. You're listening to this. You've seen it.
I mean, if you've seen any South Park or Simpsons episode, or
this is why I feel bad. My brother didn't get a chance to watch it, but he should watch. If you listen to this, one day when you watch this, I'm glad you watched it. Here's my HBO password.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know, right. I think
I'm gonna read it aloud right now. You can go ahead and sign in. So
Get on the Reddit.
It's Leave72, and I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next week, continue with the cozy trend. I'm glad this movie won because I've been wanting to rewatch it.
Did it win by a landslide? Because the last time I looked, it was like fucking ahead.
Landslide for our numbers, yeah, like 8 to the next closest one was like 4 or something. So yeah.
I mean, that's still pretty good.
But the next week we will be watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino. Speaking of 90s Miramax guys. And how many Tarantino movies have we watched?
I don't know, actually a couple, but
I think only 2. I'd say Reservoir Dogs and Django probably.
Yeah, right. I'm excited because I have not seen this.
This
film.
is the only one you haven't seen, so I'm looking forward to it.
It is. Yeah. So, and me and dude, Clones Are People too. Shout out. He hasn't seen it either, or they. I don't know. But yeah, dope. Shout out, man.
Dope. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I want to watch it again.
If you made it this far, we're in it together, and I can't wait to see your comment.
I'm gonna actually comment because we're in the fucking bizarro world where you commented on the Reddit this week and I didn't.
I know. I mean, dude, I'm trying to get. I'm I make these promises and then they're all just hollow. I log off and then I just stare directly at the wall until the next time we log on.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty much. I got a new setup over here, so I haven't even been on my computer like all week. I just been pouting over here in the corner in my chair.
well, dude, I'm working on a new podcast right now, so I'm going to leave your ass.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start my new podcast and never come back.
With your fake phone calls?
My interview show.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Okay.
Thanks you to the Patreons, which reminds me, my mom is mad that she's never got any stickers from you. So I told her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I told her.
Yeah, she didn't. Dude, okay, I emailed her
She
address
said-
for her address, and
yeah.
she didn't give it to me.
She said, give Jordan my address. I want those stickers.
All right now on air.
Yeah. I said, he's going to be here in a couple weeks. Maybe he'll just bring you some.
That is my plan. So everyone will get stickers. Shut up. No, I love you guys.
To the
I'll bring
sticker,
some down.
the sticker people, you know who you are. You're great. I appreciate you.
You guys are
Everyone
giving
on
me a
everyone on the
float.
Reddit that votes, keep voting. I want to hear why you vote. Come talk about the movies with us. Just have an attention span that's a week long. You know, you vote for the movie, and then the movie post happens, and then over the week watch it and come post about it. I know that's not how the internet works these days, but it's a fucking film club. Just come back to it. Come back to us.
I know. It's
Come
one
back-
movie a week.
Come back to
And
us.
we would love to hear from you.
I want to hear everyone's thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's Tarantino's a hot button director, and I want to know where this falls for a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Because I quite enjoy it, I'm excited to reassess it and then talk about it with you, good buddy.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
That'd be good.
So next time on Everyday Celebrity, my
Every day
podcast,
on.
right,
Oh yeah, this movie is great.
we'll be interviewing Terrence Malick. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. One day we'll get an interview in here, and it'll be sweet.
Maybe.
We'll hunt down a director.
I don't really like interviews and podcasts, but that would probably be good for our brand.
I know, right? I mean, well, it would be a bonus episode. It wouldn't be in here.
I'll pretend.
All right, you guys.
I'll just start
don't
working on
listen-
my
don't listen to this
character
part.
work.
Switch to your next one.
It's me, Terrence Malick.
No. Go to your Steve Harvey podcast after this, and go to your Office Ladies podcast after this. Don't stop listening to this now. Go to your other pods.
All right. The music should be playing right about now. Let's all go to the lobby.
Okay. Yeah,
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.